everyone. Welcome to Digital Learning Day and to our session on Desmos, working with the coordinate plane. I'll be working with Julia West at Providence Middle School. And if you haven't joined our Google Classroom, I'd like for you to go ahead and do that. I'm going to put the code back up on the air for you, up on the screen, so that you can see it. And go ahead and join that. You might want to open up student.desmos.com on a separate tab, because after this session with Julia, we're going to all go on there and play. Don't worry about the join code for that right now. Just go to student.desmos.com on one tab and join our Google Classroom. Introduce yourself. Let us know what name, your name, what school you're from, what you teach, and if anyone else is watching with you. So let's go ahead and get started with Julia and looking at the coordinate plane.
Julia, you're muted.
So by definition.
Hi, Stephanie.
Oh, so we're ready, Julia, for you to go ahead and get started showing us some Desmos on the coordinate plane.
Okay, so we're going to get started by looking at the Desmos graphing calculator. So I'm going to screen share my screen with you. So I went to Desmos, www.desmos.com, and okay, what you're going to do is the students can go there. They don't have to sign in, so you're not signing in with anything. It's an online graphing calculator that is available to all of our students and to teachers. And when I use it with my kids, especially the first few times, I just post the link in our Google Classroom. They go right to it, and we all hit start graphing. So this is what the Desmos graphing calculator looks like. It's a coordinate plane, it's a grid, and then you can type in on the left-hand side of it. And a couple of things that I like to do, especially starting with my sixth graders, is we just practice plotting points. And you type in the ordered pair, and you can label it. So maybe we want to label this point A. And they can label it, and you can change the label. If you want to have them label them with specific letters, that's all an option. I'm also going to come up here to the top right and zoom in and out, which you can set the interval for the coordinate plane and whatever you would like for it to be with your kids. I usually, especially with sixth graders, try to have just an interval of 1 because that makes it a little bit easier for them. That's more what they're used to. You can kind of take time to zoom in and out and just have them get used to it and wherever they're comfortable with. Okay. You can also, if you wanted to make a shape, you could go up to table and you could have them enter a set of ordered pairs. So I might have them enter 2, 3, and then they can enter -2, 3. They can enter 2, -3, and -2, -3. And so they're making a rectangle. This was really helpful with my kids when we did area and perimeter because they made their own rectangle, and then we found the area and perimeter of each one of them. So you can build a rectangle. You can take the labels off. If you want this button up here, the orange dots, that's controlling a couple different things. If I hold down the left side of my mouse, then I get all these different options. And one of them is to change the color, which the kids think is kind of cool. So if you want to change the color, just let them explore with that for a few minutes, they can. You could also, if we have Algebra 1 teachers, I'm just going to delete my graphs. I'm going to start a new topic. And so to delete them, you're just right-clicking on the X. You're left-clicking on the X at the top right. And that takes my screen back to the home screen for graphing. When I taught algebra, something that was really helpful, if you also want to graph just lines, you might have them graph like x equals 4, x equals -4, y equals 4, and y equals -4. And then if you are an Algebra 1 teacher, if you're trying to maybe teach more about domain and range, you can have them restrict the domain and the range so that they're only looking at that figure. And that's what I'm doing now, is I'm going in and typing in the restrictions so that I get to see the shape that I've made. I don't think this is what I would do with my 6th graders, but it's great if you're teaching maybe an Algebra 1 or an Algebra 2 class. They can build the rectangle, they can build the square by restricting the domain and the range, and that's a great vocabulary strategy for them. And to delete it, I'm just going to the top right and clicking the X's. Okay, that is the basic coordinate plane, kind of what's taking the place of trying to have them read off of a really small screen on their calculator. This is a good alternative for them. Okay, the next thing that I want to go through is another way to use Desmos, which is the Desmos Activity Builder. And what you're going to is the link was posted in Google Classroom to go to student.desmos.com. So if everyone would go ahead and click on the Google Classroom link for student.desmos.com. What I did is I went to teacher.desmos.com and selected the activity that I wanted to use. This is one that I made for my kids for area and perimeter, and it also combined coordinate planes, so it's more of a unit activity. So if everyone will go to student.desmos.com and log in. I'm giving everyone time to log in, theoretically. Okay, so it's kind of like if you've ever done a Kahoot, the kids get a joining code. This is going to be the joining code that's only going to let your kids sitting in your classroom into the activity that you want to do. So you have the student's perspective because you're logged in as a student. I'm logged in as a teacher, so you're going to student.desmos.com. Here is the activity that I made. I'll just kind of highlight a couple of things on it. And if you're able to be on your screen and then also kind of check in back and forth on my screen, you can kind of see the teacher's perspective and what I'm seeing as a teacher as my kids are going through the activity. So I started by having I'm going to go to the teacher's perspective of the activity. Matt, okay.
Hey, Julia, would you mind opening one of your, oh, that's your class you already did.
Yes.
Good,
so this
thank
is kind of the set of questions that the kids are going to see. And there's always a place where they can type in their answers. I actually, when I made it, I did not have them submit to teacher for every single question, but you can have them submit. And even if they don't submit to teacher, you still have access to see what they did. So I will open up a previous class. This is one that I'm trying to find one for my first period. I'm looking at the time frame. It saves everything that you do, so you can see about the time frame of it. So this looks like one that my first period would have done. And I can go in, I can see how far each student got and the answers that all of my students chose. I can also anonymize it so that if you want to go over misconceptions with the class, there's something that you want to go through, your students, like the wrong answer isn't sitting there for everyone to say, oh, that student got it wrong. You can anonymize the screen and then the students don't know. You also have an option from the teacher's perspective. You can pause the class. So if they're really into something, they're really engaged in the activity, but you just need to stop and clear up one thing that you're seeing all the time, you have the option to do that because you can pause the class. So what I do is I usually just let my students go through all of the screens and they work through all the questions that they have. And sometimes they work together, they can work alone, but it's a great chance for a teacher to quickly correct anything that they're noticing frequently and give the students immediate feedback on it. And it does store all of their answers. So if you wanted to see what they did, you would be able to go back and have access to that. So what we're going to do is give you all a chance to play with it and kind of explore it. So we're going to go back to Stephanie.
All right, Julia, thank you very much for sharing what you do with Desmos and the coordinate plane. I love how you showed us on the calculator, making the shapes, using it for other things like area and perimeter, and also how you shared that you build an activity. So we're going to let you all have a chance to be a student, and I'm going to try to screen share. If we can unshare. Are you sharing on your side, Julia?
I am. I need to unshare.
And I'm going to share mine and see if you can see the code. Can you guys see the code?
Oh, I thought they had the code.
They might, but I'm also showing it on my screen. Can you see it?
Okay.
There it is. Can you? I'm hoping they can see it.
Yes, I can see it.
All right, great. So this is the code. If you would go ahead and go to student.desmos.com, you can join with this code. We really appreciate you being a part of it. What's going to happen is Julia and I are going to be in Google Classroom, and while you're actually working through the activity, if you want to go and ask us questions, go ahead and post them in Google Classroom. We'll answer them for you. And also, Julia's going to take this time to take some snips of what she's seeing from the teacher dashboard, and she's going to post that in Google Classroom as well, so that you can see what's happening there. So thank you again. Don't forget to finish the reflection question in Google Hangout when in Google Classroom when you're done. And we look forward to seeing you in Desmos. Thank you.